Sandy Shore live in Mallorca, Spain for the third annual Smooth Jazz Mallorca Festival. And we are at the beautiful Pro Tour Biomar Grand Hotel and Spa for smoothjazz.com Global Radio. And with us, one of our longtime friends and favorite keyboardists of all times, Gregg Karukas. Good morning.
Hi, Sandy. Great to be here.
I should say buenos dias.
Yeah, bon dia.
Yeah, exactly. Are you having a good time?
Yeah, it's been really wonderful. And the weather has been perfect for us all week. And the crowds, just great crowds. And what a nice festival. I feel so happy for Christian and the promoters who have organized a great weekend for people to come from many, many different countries and support this music in another continent.
We're so excited for Smooth Entertainment, for Christian, and for the hotel. And Europe is growing. It's a growing market. For you and I, for as long as we've been inside of contemporary jazz, it's fascinating and wonderful to see other countries embracing it now, all these years later.
Yes, and I think every area has its own person who's become like the keeper of the flame, if you will. And I've met so many people who said, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years with my little radio station, or I've been buying your records and CDs since 20 years. And, you know, it's just so great to meet them in person after all this time.
It is, and as far away from home as we are, too. I've had so many people come up and say they're listening to smoothjazz.com, and they tell me that from Sweden and Norway and Germany and England, and it's exciting to know that, especially for me broadcasting in a small town in California, globally, you know, now, and this music. And I have to say, speaking of this music, your music is sounding fantastic. I saw your show yesterday, and you're vibrant and alive, and it's like all the good stuff you did 20 years ago with today's sound, I have to say.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I think, yeah, for me to be still playing and still getting an opportunity to perform live is just a total, you know, it's a bonus.
We have to give a couple little highlights because you breezed through the Rippingtons for a bit. You were with Acoustic Alchemy for a while, and of course your own solo career. How many albums to date?
I'm now just finishing my 12th solo album, and so my first CD came out it was an LP, and it was a cassette, and it was a CD, and it was called The Night Owl, and that came out in 1987. Wow. So we're now looking at don't do the math.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the same year, actually, 87 was the same year that Moonlighting came out in 86, so that was the first Rippingtons record, and that was the one that I was in the original Rippingtons.
That's right.
Yeah, so starting from way back then.
And they've got a new album coming out this year as well, so it's kind of interesting. You've got one, and they've got one. The music continues to go. People continue to love it, and what we're finding is that younger people are embracing the sound over here. They just love the fact that it's upbeat and fun and not a lot of lyrics still, but when there are lyrics, they're very positive and happy. You know, we need that in these times.
I agree, and I think you have enough music that sounds like it was made in a factory, coming out of radio and TV, and I try to do the exact opposite and make it sound like it's coming, you know, much more from the heart and from, you know, we party and we have a great time as well, and we also are borrowing grooves, or, you know, we're really interested in the most upbeat, funky grooves, and you can't argue when you get a great melody on top of a great groove. You just can't argue with that.
No, that is organic fun right there.
Yes, and that's always been my goal, to sort of bring in the human, you know, from the gut, you know, emotion, but also this gospel funky element.
Well, you nail that for sure. That's what we're going to hear on the new album, I imagine.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of retro keyboards, a lot of gospel feeling, as well as I never limit what I do on my CDs, so there's a lot of variety from one end of the spectrum, from more of a world music, new age thing, which it's a little bit of a little preview of what's to come, because I have another project that's going to follow this, that's going to be more like the music that I've been working on. Like, I produced this world music new age record that won the Grammy last year.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And so a lot of the music that I wrote for that project, I wrote a lot of songs, and so I had a few extra songs, and I decided, you know what, I really like this music, and let me also do another project that's a little different, something I like to do as well. And so I will have 2 CDs out in the coming year.
That is fantastic. And do we have a title or titles?
You know, that's the one thing, and I would love to ask all the people out there to suggest titles. And I always play a new song. I always like to bring new songs out on shows and try them out, and they don't have a title. So I ask the audience to help me with the titles, you know, if they get a particular feeling from a song. And so I'm always looking for great titles, and still I've been focusing on the music so much that the other part of the brain that, you know, wants to do titles and wants to do all the promotional stuff, I've had that's been in the background for a while, so now it's time to put that hat on and
Time to tap into that.
yes.
And people watching this video on YouTube, they can always give you a tweet or drop by on Facebook and give you a thought.
Facebook messages are what works with me the best. Unfortunately, I have a long list of friend requests that I can't add because I'm right at my limit, and I have to deal with that as well. But when somebody sends me a direct message on Facebook, I get it, and then I can add them as a friend. You know, if they mention, you know, I saw you at this show, or I have a title suggestion, that's the best way to get a hold of me.
Excellent. And we're going to talk to Gregg about a brand page so that he can expand these friendships soon, because that's what we're doing over here at smoothjazz.com. We had to do the same thing, and it's always good to, I think you can get more and still get those messages. That's cool, huh? Yeah. More friends, more messages. You'll need a personal assistant before you know it.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing, is that it does take a certain amount of time.
Yeah, it does.
And I wish I had all the time to be able to do all that. And it's great to see other artists, you know, my friends, and they find their way to spend a certain amount of time per day or per week. Like Peter White's great about, you know, wherever he is, any airport, he'll always post a little picture of him with a beer with a lime in it. You know, I'm at this airport getting ready to go do this festival.
You know, it's a great way to stay in touch with people. I always say that Facebook is the new radio, really. It's your own radio station and your own television station. It keeps us connected. But there's a balance. You got to find the time for it, as you say.
Yeah.
We'll come looking for you on Facebook. I know you have a website as well.
Yes, of course. It's Karukas.com.
And we're going to look for that new project. And fortunately, I'm standing right here talking to Gregg, so you're going to be hearing it on smoothjazz.com this summer, perhaps? Or Okay, excellent. Awesome.
Later in the summer.
Okay, very cool. It's always good to catch up with you. It's been a few years for us, but I'm delighted to see you.
Well, great, Sandy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. Live from Mallorca, Spain, I'm Sandy Shore for smoothjazz.com Global Radio.